everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this video is all about my experience with US visa. There are a lot of other videos that will tell you what questions to prepare for, what all documents to carry and everything, but in this video I'll just tell me how the entire process was for me. So let's go into it. So as we all know, the US visa process is divided into two parts. So part 1 is your biometric and part 2 is your interview. So these are conducted on separate days, but these can be in two consecutive days or 2 days apart, 5 days apart, depends on the day you get. I've known people who have gotten biometric in one city in Mumbai and then they've flown to Delhi for their interview. So that also happens. Luckily for me, both of these appointments were in the same city, New Delhi. So I'll tell you about that. My center for my biometric was in the Shivaji Stadium metro station, and this was in the metro station itself. So I went there an hour earlier. My time was 2:45 p.m. I reached much early. I reached by 1:30 p.m. And just to be safe, because it took me a lot of time to find where I had to go. There were multiple countries which had their biometric offices in that same place. So the second basement level had both China and USA, and there were some other countries on the first floor. So I figured that out. I went and I waited because I reached inside the office by quarter to 2 p.m. and they said since my time was 2:45 I was supposed to wait. There were a lot of people. There was a very long line. So yes, please be on time. Around 2:20, 2:30, I took out my DS 160 form and my passport and I stood in the line. And you are not supposed to take any electronics inside. No laptop, no mobile phone, no earphones, no smartwatch, nothing. No technical, no device at all. So I stood there with my file, and on my DS 160 form there were a lot of people who were guiding you what to do, how to stand, where to stand, and what documents you need to pull out. So they checked my DS 160 form. They made sure that today was my appointment and I was here for the right time slot. They checked my passport number, matched it with my application form, and I waited in the line again. After 10-15 minutes of waiting, they sent us one by one inside. Inside there was proper frisking with a metal detector. They checked if you had any metal or any device on you, and that's about it. From there on, it's just you and your file. Then I went to another line inside where there were like multiple counters. There were like 6-7 people sitting, and there were like 6-7 small lines. And in that line, the person checked my appointment letter and my passport again. And behind my passport, they stuck a small, like at the back of my passport on the cover, they just put a small sticker saying my appointment number is this and my timing is this and my passport number is blah blah blah. So it was just like a token sticker. I went from that line and then proceeded to another line. So this was the main line where I was supposed to wait for my biometrics to happen. So it was a pretty long line. It took me at least 15-20 minutes to, for my number to come. There were multiple booths. There were about 10 to 11 booths, all separated, and that is where when my turn came, I went there. I sat there on booth number 1, and I handed over my documents, which is my passport and my DS 160 form, and they took my fingerprints, like 4 fingers. Like I had to place my 4 right fingers first, and then my 4 left fingers, and then both of my thumbs. After that, they made me sit straight. There was a white background behind, and then they took my picture. That's all. They don't ask any questions here. Neither do they keep any of your documents. So it was just like a 1-minute process, just fingerprint taking and picture taking. So that's all. And I took everything back. I took my DS form and my passport back, and I went home. So that was about day 1 biometric. So second day was my interview, and so my biometric was on Friday, and after Saturday and Sunday, Monday was my interview day. So this was in the US Embassy itself in New Delhi, and my time slot for this was 9:50 a.m. But I reached much earlier. I reached by 8:30, and there was a huge line. So right from outside the embassy, from the road, you're not allowed to your parents are not allowed to accompany you, your friends' parents, or anyone, and you're not supposed to have your mobile phone or your earphones, wire, nothing, like no device on you. I stood there with my file, and now let me tell you what all documents I was carrying. I was carrying a transparent, clear zip folder. In it, I had my original passport plus all the old passports that I had, my university offer letter, I-20 form, service fee receipt, I-901, the payment receipt for the $350 that we make, my original degrees, my undergraduate provisional degree certificate, transcripts, first to 8th semester original transcripts, and 10th and 12th original mark sheets. My So my parents, so if I'm showing that if I'm taking a loan, or if my parents are funding my education, so I have to show my 1 year bank statements, my last 3 years income tax returns, a supporting letter from my parents that said my daughter so and so is traveling to the United States for her master's program. Her education would be funded completely by a student loan, and she will be following all the US laws and so on. It's just a letter from your parents. And I was carrying my parents' IDs, like my printout of their photocopies, like photocopies of the passports, I'm sorry, and the proof of the loan that you've taken, travel insurance if any, health insurance if any. And to be safe, I was also carrying my passport pictures for the US visa, which is almost a 2 by 2 inch white background, your front face picture. Like, you don't need it because your picture is already taken in the biometric, but just to be safe, I was carrying it. And during your biometric day, they put a stamp on your DS 160 form, so you have to carry that stamped form as well. Basically, everything. So I was waiting in a line outside, then that line moved and came to the first checkpoint, which is where they were frisking you, checking you for any mobile phones, any devices. They check you for that, and then you move ahead. Then there's a second checkpoint where they check your passport. So they just check your date and time on the passport for your appointment, the sticker that they put on the previous day, and in their computer they just mark that okay, the person for this appointment is here. That's all. And then I moved to another line, and that line leads to the third checkpoint, which is another security check. So there's like a proper trolley system where how it is in airports when you keep your luggage. So you put your folders in it, and it goes through an x-ray scanning machine. They just check that if you're not carrying any electronical devices or anything, and they also scan you through the metal detector again. And then you go inside, and finally this is a very long line that you have to wait for. So I was waiting. So there were lines at every point, and then at that point there were benches, and I was waiting for another 15 minutes. That line got up, and I moved to another line. I've lost count of what checkpoint this is. I think checkpoint number 4 or 5. And this line leads to a counter where they check your I-20 form, your service payment receipt, your passport. These three things. So this is why service fee payment is important, because here, unless any of these documents are missing, they don't let you go ahead. So this was a line where I was waiting for my documents to be reviewed. It just took 2 minutes. They just cross-checked, okay, service ID paid, fee paid, I-20 form complete, passport there, that's all. Then came the major line where I was standing for almost an hour. My interview was supposed to be at 9:50 a.m. I reached so early, but till like 10:30 or 10:45 I was in that line. So it took a very long time. The line was moving very slowly, and so there were a lot of counters, and everyone was wearing formal clothes. I wasn't wearing formal per se, but I was wearing a collared t-shirt, white colored, so it looked professional. And so the line went on for a very long time. I was listening to other people's interviews, because like you can hear it through the glass also. So a lot of people were getting their visas rejected. Some people just got their visa in like a couple of seconds. I was the one. So finally my number came after a very long time, and my interview was barely for like 1 or 2 minutes. So they just asked me, oh, which school you're going to? They were quite impressed, and they're like, oh, that's a great school, congratulations. And what other US colleges did you apply to? So I told them that I applied to 3 colleges, and that's all. They just verified that my fingerprint matched with my biometric from my previous day, so I just gave my fingerprint again, and they matched it. It matched, and in a minute he was like, good, all the best, your visa is approved and your visa will be delivered to you in 7 to 8 days in the address that I provided. So that was basically it. Now this was just an experience video, but if you ask me a few tips, please wear comfortable shoes and go. Like, do not wear heels. Even if you're wearing formals, don't wear like uncomfortable shoes, because you will be standing for 1.5 hour. A part of the line would be outside the embassy, so you would also be on the road. It could be like, it could be very hot also, so just wear like sport shoes in which you can easily stand. Another tip would be to have a folder in which you have all of these documents aligned, put in a sequence that you would need them in. So put your passport, and then your I-20 form, then your DS-160 form, so you can pull them out very quickly, because these people are very busy. The officers, the visa officers, they have hundreds of people to take an interview of, and then they don't have the time or patience to wait for you to find your documents in those hundreds of printouts. So do that, and reach early on time, stay hydrated. These are a few general tips. Otherwise, if you want to know what all questions to prepare for and so on, that there are multiple sources online to prepare for that. So good luck for your interview, and that's all I want to say about my experience. And I'm waiting for my visa currently, and I think it should be here in a couple of days. So watching this video, guys. See you in the next video.